So, we searched various expat discussion boards to determine the main issues that impacted the experiences of expats. Here's a list of some of the common issues that expats report wishing they knew more about before heading overseas. The easiest one first. Before you take any steps to prepare for your move, make sure that you meet the requirements to obtain a residency visa or permit that allows you to live long-term in a specific country. Each country will have a different set of requirements, addressing employment, income, and other issues. And don't assume you'll be able to get a work permit in the country you want to live in. It could end up being that you may not be able to move to your preferred country, and you may have to try somewhere else. So do the research first. It's important to get an idea of what the weather is going to be like all year round before you commit to moving to a place. One way you can assess a region or town's livability is by staying for 2 months or so during the least desirable time of the year, just to see if you'll be able to cope with the bad weather at the location. Moving to a place with long periods of extreme heat or extreme cold, or long periods of dark, rainy months can make a destination much less attractive. And check the drought and wildfire hazard maps to see if the place you're targeting might be affected during periods when weather makes these hazards more likely. And are there other weather-related hazards? Does the arrival of spring signal the birth of swarms of insects? Does flooding in the rainy season drive the snakes from the jungle into your yard? Those are good things to know before you select a location. Check out what the grocery stores carry in different seasons, especially if you're moving to a seasonal tourist area. Do they carry the foods that you want to eat? Are the prices reasonable? Are fresh fruit and vegetables generally available? Is there a selection of the international foods that you want? See if you can determine how the foods are stored and if a lot of the food is close to their expiration dates. If you can check the stock at different times of the year, does the stock change when the tourists go home for the season, or does the supply system choke at certain times of the year due to high demand or weather? If you're planning to eat any meals during your stay in a country, make sure you'll be happy with the options. Do your research on the housing and rental laws before signing a lease. Understanding how local rental agreements work and about tenant rights in your destination is crucial to avoid potential disputes with your landlord. Some landlords may try to take advantage of the foreigners, but you may have more rights than you might realize. It can be risky to buy a home as soon as possible once you arrive. Take some time to see if you like the area and learn more about where it would be best for you to settle in. And that'll give you time to learn more about the real estate market and how the purchase transactions work, and help you make a more informed purchase. Don't believe the hype about amazing free healthcare in the destination country. It's likely exaggerated. First, find out what you need to do to obtain healthcare. Most countries require you to buy some sort of health insurance. Research the hospitals and healthcare facilities in the areas you're planning to move to. And keep in mind it can be hard to find a doctor, just like in the US, and especially when you're outside of a major city and living in the countryside, which can become an issue as you get older. If you are older, it may be a good idea to select an area with a lot of other expat retirees, since there may be better hospitals and healthcare options in those areas. If you have any existing health issues or need specific medications, see if there are facilities to address those issues, and if the medications are available and at what cost. Try to see if your specific health issue is covered by the insurance. Are there necessary specialists available to you with that insurance? Are there long waiting lists to see medical staff? Do they speak English? If not, do the healthcare providers support a method to communicate in your language, or provide a native speaker who can act as a go-between? Check out the transportation options in the area. Is the public transportation comprehensive and reliable? Do you need a private car, and will you be able to get one, and at what cost? What do you need to do to get a driver's license, and how often do you have to renew it? And do you need to be close to an international airport? The implications of tax laws in both the host country and the US can be extremely difficult to identify, especially if you have income from anything other than a standard wage-paying job, such as a pension or investments, renting your US house, having investments outside of the US, a foreign bank account, or you start a business in either country. And add in taxes on inheritance, pensions, your worldwide assets, and on a residence that you purchase in the new country. it becomes really important to consult with an experienced professional on the tax implications in both the home and destination countries prior to making the move. Tax software is generally useless for expats. Remember that you have to file your U.S. taxes even if you don't owe anything, both federal and state. The IRS and U.S. Treasury will miss you when you leave, at least as much as your family and friends will, and will likely be very concerned about how you're doing in the new country. So they'll expect you to keep in touch and let them know how things are going. Your host country may tax your U.S. income and your worldwide assets, your pension, your grandmother's estate, have you contribute to their retirement system, pay local taxes and property taxes, value-added tax, wealth taxes. They may even tax your dog or cat. Who knows? The list can get complicated. Many U.S. banks and investment companies will stop doing business with you and close your accounts if you move overseas due to increased reporting requirements. Your ability to control your assets and your 401k may be impacted by the move. U.S. credit cards usually require a U.S. address and may close your account if you move abroad. So you need to understand all of the financial impacts of your move and get these issues worked out before you leave. So try to find a professional to look at your individual financial situation before you move and advise you on how to protect your interests. That advice can be expensive, but keep in mind it's an investment. No matter how well you prepare and how well you know the country from previous visits, some level of culture shock is going to impact you. It'll take time to really feel at home in a new country, so be patient. Learning the local language is critical. You'll need to interact with store clerks, repair and delivery people, doctors, make phone calls. Government offices will use documents in the native language. Media and signage will be in the local language. And if you leave the larger cities, smaller towns will have a smaller number of English speakers. So you need to be proficient in the local language to communicate and socialize with locals. Start learning the language as soon as possible to ensure that you'll be able to speak at least on a low to intermediate level to communicate with the local residents. You'll be lonely for a long period after you arrive. If you're lonely now, when you move to a new country where you don't understand the language and culture, making connections with locals with whom you'll have much less in common is going to be a challenge. So prepare yourself for the loneliness and feeling lost, at least for the first year or so. You won't have the same opportunities for connections as the locals. You'll be the foreigner. You'll never be equal to the local residents. And if you're single, your dating life is likely going to drop off a cliff. So look at the place you're considering moving to and determine if there's enough people with similar life circumstances that you can connect with, and avoid moving to a place that's too isolating. Plan on making a big effort to get out and meet people. It can be at your workplace, in pubs, sitting on a bench in a park, doing outdoor activities, taking classes, anything. Things you never needed to do back home will likely be necessary. Expect a neutral relationship at first with the locals. Eventually, someone will invite you back to their home as a friend. And if all else fails, plan on seeking out connections with fellow travelers in the local expat community. They'll likely be in the same boat as you. But try to avoid getting too comfortable living in the expat bubble with people from back home. And keep in mind that there'll be a lot of things that you'll miss about home. Most likely your contact with family and friends. Maybe they can come visit you, or you can travel home to see them. But as you all get older, it's going to become harder to travel overseas to see each other. You'll likely have most of the same problems and issues that you had in your home country. Moving to another country will not automatically fix those issues. It's not going to be a magic escape from your past to a carefree lifestyle on the beach. Living in a foreign country can be one of the most mentally taxing things you can do. So make sure your mental health is strong and stable as possible before going. Expect to be stressed out before, during, and after your move, to miss home, family, and friends, and understand that you're going to be lonely for a while. And you'll need to address all this in addition to the other issues that we mentioned. All of those things are normal for persons moving to another country. So it's important that your reasons for moving overseas are more powerful than the negatives that you may encounter during your adventure. You may stay in your new overseas home permanently, but it's a good idea to expect for and plan for your eventual return to your home country for one reason or another. Don't assume that returning home will be easy. It can take a lot of work, and you'll likely experience some sort of culture shock once you return. But don't let these issues dampen your interest in moving. This list are just things that you should keep in mind so that you know what to expect once you make your move. Most expats report that their overseas move was the greatest experience of their lives. They were glad they did it. You'll have a greater chance of succeeding on your adventure if you understand the issues that they encountered and how to prepare for your journey. If you're planning on making an overseas move, it's a good idea to follow the expat subreddits and Facebook groups, both for general expat issues and for the ones focused on your destination country, to see what people who went ahead of you have experienced. You can pick up a lot of tips that'll make your life easier. For current expats, please make some comments and add your expertise to the discussion by posting about your experience in the comments section. That can help others planning on making the move to have a better understanding of what to expect. And take care of the most important thing right now to have a much greater chance for succeeding. That is, click on the like and subscribe buttons for this channel and subscribe to our Notes from the Road newsletter that focuses on issues of interest to people in midlife and beyond. Use the link in the description. Thanks for watching.